Hey, we're back. It's another episode of Two Guys Talking 24. There's Bill. He's very excited. That's Bill.
Start that fire. I'm Bill. That's Kevin.
And
I always say that when really what we mean is he's Kevin.
Is that the proper thing?
Well, it's not that.
It'd be
that.
Who? Who's you? Who's that? Okay, but what does that mean? If I say who's that, is that a Southern thing?
Who dat?
Who dat? Well, that's the Saints.
That's Southern.
I'll wear my Saints thing next time. Okay, so a little
You're cutting
better.
all that out.
What?
You're erasing all that part.
Yeah, it's all gone. It's all gone. Just like my memory and the hair from here to here.
Embrace the cap, my friend. Embrace the cap.
That'll be it right there. Overall, I think it was this was kind of covered hour 9 to 10. 2 more episodes left. I think this was kind of a mixed bag for me. Even though when they rolled Jimmy Smits out of the van, I kind of chuckled. So did my wife. It just looked humorous. You know.
And he gets up.
Yeah.
I roll off the couch now and I can't move for a week.
Yeah. I'm on the floor going, wait a minute. Hang on. Well, and I thought the irony is if he'd have stood up and then...
How did that sound? What would the sound be like?
There you go. Yeah. Probably followed by... What is wrong with us? Oh, well, you know, I am unemployed now, so I will do sound effects for $1.
Sure.
So, I thought, and this is something you've talked about early on, and I thought last night, or I'm sorry, on the last episode, I thought the bad acting really came out last night with Spineless Keith.
Oh, he's horrible.
Oh my word.
He's horrible.
You know, and here's a message to the fine folks that produce the show.
I'm crying. Hang on. I've been laughing so hard.
Not that you need any advice from me, who's only a fan of the show, right? But stop putting up Kiefer's name as executive producer when that dude is on the screen acting, because it reminds me of like, oh yeah, Kiefer.
Well, you know, if you a very
Spineless Keith,
the original designated survivor is very 24-ish, and there's Kiefer right in it.
I know. Okay, so before we get, I'm going to tease this one more time. Before we get to talking about the next to the finale, I want to give you my prediction of what is going to happen.
Okay.
It's going to involve Kiefer. That's all I'll say.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be good. But speaking of predictions, did I not call it?
You nailed it.
Daddy Dearest is still alive.
And what's his name?
Ben Khalid.
What's his head?
Yeah. Not looking too good.
No, but I like the half beard look. I was going to, just for effect today, just shave this side of the Van Dyke and see if you could notice it. Put some bubble wrap over here.
Yeah. He was Two-Face before Two-Face was cool. We should call this Two Insensitive Guys Talking 24. Who else can we make fun of? Hang on, let me look at my Rolodex. When the other guy said you'll know soon enough, that's why I had that thought.
That's when you predicted it.
That he's
when the other guy. This is how married we are to these characters.
The other guy.
Nasiri said that.
Nasiri, yeah.
The other guy, you know when that guy said, and that other girl, that chick who said that, the one with the nose ring. Her. So
let me point out something though that, and this is a knock on, I think, American TV versus some other shows, and not even necessarily just British and things like that. But there's a show that we've watched a couple of episodes on Netflix called The OA. And we think we like it. It's kind of weird. We're trying to figure it out. But there's a part of it where it's in Russian. But here's what I like. the characters are speaking Russian with subtitles.
I love that.
And I think what bothered me last night is I think it's the dumbing down of TV where, oh, well, we can't possibly have them speaking Arabic or whatever it is. So we've got to have them talking English in an accent. And
right.
I think it would have been more realistic, especially for the dad, if he'd been like speaking in Arabic with the subtitles.
Now, Leather Britches was talking something.
What? Yeah, and then they cut to her going back, and which I realize comes out as Japanese, which I don't think she is.
But then it ended like Spanish. The last word was
that I said.
No, no, absolute gibberish. But I thought it was like Arabic, but it must not have been. But anyway, so now they're messing up a job because Tony's going to stick around, and I'm jumping the gun.
We're going to lose the money.
So you got it that the daddy bad guy is alive, but you missed because you thought that Carlos Bernard, Tony was gone. That was it. We'd seen the last of him.
Yeah, I did. But now, I can see that. Why not take him out somewhere? And in fact, it makes you wonder, is he going to insert himself now here that Rebecca's been taken somehow? Somehow, Eric can't get to her standing right there. But yeah.
Well, we see Tony in action next week. We saw that in the previews.
Oh, see, I didn't see the previews. Is that true?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. There's got lots of lead slinging and butt kicking going on next week.
I could see Tony going down for the count because... think of a way for him to go out on a high note as not the bad guy. He sacrifices himself for Rebecca. He moves it forward. John's rolling around out in the highway somewhere, so he's safe. Unless it's...
And his daddy, Gerald McCraney, is still nursing ahead. He's had a tough day. Okay. All events happen in real time.
There you go.
He's been heavily medicated. He's been sent home and then whacked in the head with a heavy item.
So this is an important...
By his brother-in-law, Luis?
I don't know who Luis is. Quite honestly, he's kind of there as I think it's now convenient that it's all Luis is doing. You know? You told him. Okay, so here's an important safety tip, I think, for anybody out there who's thinking of, like, going into, like, something bad. Don't have a confrontation with somebody in the kitchen.
Nah, too many things to wield.
There's too many things to whack somebody with, you know? I thought that was a little, I don't know. I thought that was a little lame. And in fact... I'm trying to think back to, was it episode 2, 3, 4, when we found out that Gerald McCraney is actually the guy who sold the names. Now it seems a little too convenient that it was Luis.
Right.
So it feels kind of like a little a poor planned bait and switch. But I still think he's the best. The other thing I learned about last night is Jimmy Smits can't run.
No. And if you're being chased, don't keep looking back. No. Just run fast.
No.
Again, that duct tape on the mouth came off pretty darned easy.
Oh yeah. I don't buy duct tape like that.
Well, and if you're going to duct tape somebody mouth shut, you wrap it around their head. Everybody knows that.
How do you know
just
that?
Put a little piece off and cover it up nice and neatly.
Yeah. So I don't even want to. I started. How do you know that?
It's common knowledge. Stuff you pick up on the street.
You know, you have to do what you have to do.
And once this video goes out, I'll have all kinds of cred.
Oh, trust me, it's going out. So I'm afraid what they're going to do, and I just don't like this, is instead of killing Nicole, they're going to kill the relationship. That was rather off-putting last night. Yeah. You know, in the midst of all this going on, and then she hits him with this letter. It's like, really? Now you're throwing marital discord in the midst of this, and there's 2.5 hours to go? Yeah. I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're kind of busy with this terrorist thing, but what is this? If you don't mind. And by the way, there's your brother. Yeah, It's been coming on to me right strongly. Yeah. I did like, I think probably I liked the scene with Eric and Rebecca when they were driving. I got over the fact that Rebecca just assumed nobody was watching her and following her. But I did like that whole dialogue about when she asked him, do you need this? And he didn't answer. And I think that's really, I personally think it could be a stronger story if they had focused more on him, but we'll see where the next 2 hours go, him being Eric Carter. And if his story ends at hour 12, but I think they're also opening that door for, if there's more legacy, he gets then moved into that. I do kind of like the fact that he's not that seasoned guy that Jack, even in episode 1, Jack was fairly seasoned, but then it even got more so.
You're talking about their conversation in the SUV or whatever they were driving in the vehicle going to the stadium. But right prior to that was my favorite line of the night. Do you have a favorite line from last night?
No, but even though when Andy's on, I'm listening.
I told you what your favorite line was.
What?
When Eric's talking to Rebecca and he says, "Can you get me into the armory?" And she says, "Yeah, I think I can get it." And so he says, "Because I'm going to need a few things." And when he sniffs, I even ran it back. I said, "Did you check out the sniff?" That kind of made it like, Dad, now he really means it, because it was like, because I'm going to need a few things.
Yeah. And boy, did he take some stuff too.
Yeah, he took, but I think they had a little bit more than what they were listing. It's like, come on, you could do better than that.
Yeah. Well, and we also caught how when they said that it would take a while to figure out who called Rebecca. Oh, got it. Really? I mean, I was at lunch today and couldn't even get a signal, and I'm like, and then they turn around and go, "Do you think you can find Tony's number?" I don't know. I'll try. Who is this?
Well, to me, the greatest leap was standing on a field that's been soaked in gasoline, and you reach down, pick up some grass, and go, I'm on top of the stove here.
Yeah. So, how many times after you've put gas in your vehicle does your hand still smell?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're standing on a field saturated with it. And the whole fact that she decided to go on because we can't get him any other way. I think that is what has bugged me more about this season is, in the past, these seem to be like rookie TV things. And I think the show is better than that. I think the writers are better than that. We can see the mechanisms to move the story forward, as opposed to, I didn't see that coming.
All right, I got a question for you then, because you're the TV guy. You've been in close to this, and I'm not in that world. But what if by episode 12, and they were only working they're only doing 12 episodes. Right. Let's say they are in episode 6, and they were only like an episode or two ahead. Mm-hmm. I don't know how far ahead they were. We know that when it was 24, they were like 3 or 4 episodes ahead. But what if, at the midpoint, the Fox people came and said, numbers just aren't there. We're probably not going to pick it up.
Could they adjust?
Could the writers then go,
They could. A lot of these shows.
Interest, what I'm saying, could they lose interest?
Well, they could. I mean, most of these shows like 24 Legacy and even 24, they're done far enough in advance. Especially, not necessarily all of them. But I'll give you an example. There was a show that aired on Fox a couple of years ago called Wayward Pines. First season was really good. That show was done almost a year in advance. So by the time it ran, it was 10 episodes. I think it was 10 and done. My gut is they had 24 Legacy probably wrapped by the time the first or second episode aired.
Okay.
Now, do they go in and shoot alternate scenes? Don't know. And it's not quite apples to apples, but I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, and it just had the season finale of season 7. And reading an article with Scott Gimple, who's one of the executive producers, as they were planning season 7, they were also planning season 8 and 9. Now, there's a comic book that they kind of go back and forth from. So, is it possible? Yeah, but I think the show would have to be in production, and that they're running so tight they have options. I don't think they produce them that way. In fact, right now what happens is they just cancel them. Or they've only committed to 5 or 6 episodes, and if those first 2 or 3 don't do well, then they just don't finish it out.
Right.
But
all right, that was just a thought. Now, back thing to last night too is the East July code phrase or whatever it is, tying it back to DNA. And as I'm DNI, and as they said DNI, I'm writing on my little notes, Director National Intelligence, and then they said Director National Intelligence. And here I said I could write the show.
Yeah.
So anyway, he looks like now he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And we'll find out that next week. Again, in the previews, it shows him that there's something going on.
Well, and obviously, and again, not seeing the previews, it now it's clear why he wanted Rebecca stopped. He wanted things done. He didn't want Eric out there and things like that. Is it going to be a power play? That brings in the political side. That it's justifiable casualties because there's a bigger picture at play. I don't think he's going to turn out to be some terrorist. I think, or at least not that kind. But where that's going to go. An interesting moment. Because I think you needed something introduced there for these last couple of episode.
Yeah, I like the end when you hear she doesn't whisper, and she says, "He's alive, he's alive."
Now, what do you think she was taken? They got her?
Well, we're led to believe that, aren't we?
Okay, all right, yeah, because we were debating that had she heard Ben Khalid or was she actually grabbed? I think they grabbed her because otherwise, now you've got some motivation to at least continue, other than just Ben Khalid, to continue this. How they got to her and all that, who knows? And here's the other thing. Unless you wanted to put her death on the big screen, other than the script, why not just, finish her there? Right. So again, it's these little things like that, But here's the thing, though. I'm thinking I would have veered one way off the gas field, because obviously Ben Khalid's son wasn't standing on gas, right? So I don't know. That was it would have
been a dumb move if he was.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But then we were talking about the other 24 where they did the kind of the football stadium, and that was Live Another Day with William Devane at Wembley.
Yep.
Very good scene. Very good. Where he supposedly gives himself up. And I remember, I forgot who it was, John Cassar, somebody was talking about how they literally had just a few hours to shoot that one scene. And that was it. And so they actually shot there. And that was really, really good. Involved Chloe. And that was a great series.
That was a good one. And that was the first one that they made it go just 12 hours.
Yep. And the time jump, if there is one here, I have a prediction, that, the time jump was perfect in there. So, overall,
I think the original was better. And I think people who didn't watch the original think this is, some of the things it's a great show. We got a text last night from Marianne's cousin, and she says, "Are you guys watching this?" And I said, "Yeah." And I don't think it's as good as the original. And she was like, "Well, still compelling," or something like that, captivating. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, would I watch it if we weren't doing this? I probably would still watch it. But there have been a whole lot of, again, that whole disbelief, suspension of disbelief, an awful lot. Yeah. And the acting has been lacking.
Yeah.
The head of that guy is number one.
And I said this last night to Lisa. I said, I think the thing that's bugging me is there haven't been enough key people getting killed, which sounds bad to say, but we're talking TV. But it's
again, if you're a fan of the original one, there was at least every other hour where something was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the time when Jack had to kill his boss.
Oh yeah,
killed Chappelle, had to execute him.
Oh, that was tough. That
We
was
came
tough.
to work
And
the next
now
day.
it's just all the red shirts in the background. That's it. All right. Well, that's all I had from the episode.
That's all I've got. And so now you're making me wonder, did they catch Rebecca or not? I've got to think that they did, or else she's just running around on a field like in this maze of flames.
I think by them getting her, it increases the angst of Eric getting there. I mean, he's still got a score to settle, and and they mentioned they've found the sleeper cells, and evidently they've neutralized all that.
That was convenient. They rolled all them up. 14 out of 15 have been rolled up.
Just like that. So I think this will be shutting this down, and who knows what happens with the DNI guy, whatever his name is. Whatever. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching again. And as always, we'd love to hear what you think. Best place to get in touch with you?
Well, bjordan1015 on Twitter. And also, of course, now you can watch my podcast if you want. I haven't podcasted about this, but that's at WRAL-FM.com. Click on features at the top, and the little thing comes down, and click on the podcast.
Very nice.
It's just a little fun thing to do 3 times a week.
Very nice. And you can reach out to me on Twitter at Kevin Kolbe. Dude, we'll do this again next week as we get down to the last 2 hours.
Coming to it.
Shedding a little tear. All right. Till next time, K2. Peace out.
Later.